friends! So Thanksgiving is right around the corner for our American friends, which means we're coming up on the biggest food-related holiday on the American calendar. In light of that, I thought perhaps we'd take a look at a Disney classic short film that puts a great deal of emphasis on food, and a memorable role for Donald Duck to boot. This month we're watching Mickey and the Beanstalk. First released on September 27th of 1947, Fun and Fancy Free was one of the 6 Disney compilation films that combined 2 or more animated features into one production. Mickey and the Beanstalk was the second animation in Fun and Fancy Free, which followed the cartoon Bongo, a story about a circus bear that fantasizes about living in the wild, narrated by Dinah Shore. Before both cartoons, we meet Jiminy Cricket, our host for the show. The transition from Bongo to Mickey and the Beanstalk is odd. Jiminy goes from listening to Dinah Shore sing about a bear in an animated child's bedroom to a live-action house where a young Luana Patton is having a birthday party with Edgar Bergen, a ventriloquist and his 2 dummies. After a short puppet show, Edgar begins to tell the story of Mickey and the Beanstalk, occasionally interrupted by Charlie McCarthy, one of the dummies. Mickey and the Beanstalk is a retelling of the age-old story of a poor young man who trades a cow for magic beans. In this version, the young man is replaced by Mickey, Donald, and Goofy. The land of Happy Valley has fallen into poverty because a giant has stolen the magic golden harp that keeps the land plentiful and prosperous. Without the harp, the land has dried up, nothing grows, and most every living thing has abandoned the valley. Mickey, Donald, and Goofy are the only ones who have remained behind. With no food, Donald attempts to butcher their cow, only to be stopped by Mickey and Goofy. The scene of Donald facing starvation is well known by most fans for the extreme reaction Donald takes, first by breaking the fourth wall and directly reacting to the narrator, to grabbing an axe and heading straight for the cow. Mickey leaves to trade the cow for food that evening, it seems, but instead returns home with the magic beans. In anger, Donald tosses the beans to the floor, whereupon they grow into a magnificent beanstalk that climbs to the sky as the 3 slumber that night. Upon waking, they find themselves in a wonderland of gigantic proportions. They find the castle of the giant and inside a feast of massive food. As they indulge, they find the magic golden harp, but too soon do they also meet the giant. So far, I've hesitated in calling the giant in this telling evil, because as far as I can tell, Willie the Giant may be selfish, but he's not malicious. He certainly lacks empathy. He stole the only thing keeping the valley alive for himself, but he wasn't actively trying to kill anyone. Even when he finds Mickey, Donald, and Goofy trespassing in his home, he captures them rather than crushes them. He only becomes violent after the harp is stolen back. He's definitely the bad guy, but I don't think you could call him a villain. In an attempt to save the 3 heroes from the giant, the harp sings Willie to sleep. Mickey, having escaped capture, carefully steals the key to the box Donald and Goofy were locked inside of by Willie. He frees his friends, and they in turn rescue the golden harp. Willie wakes in time to give chase back down to Happy Valley. Mickey, Donald, and Goofy, even though they are carrying the harp, are much faster than Willie and make it to the ground first, where they hack the beanstalk down, causing Willie the Giant to fall to his presumed death. Presumed, but not so, because as soon as the story comes to its end and we're back at the birthday party, Willie tears the roof off the house to inquire about the whereabouts of Mickey Mouse. An odd ending to an odd film. Initially, when both Bongo and Mickey and the Beanstalk were in production in 1941, they were both penned as full-length feature films. Bongo was to be a sort of sequel to Dumbo, while Mickey and the Beanstalk had a larger cast, including Queen Minnie, who was the one to give Mickey the magic beans in exchange for his cow, or Gideon and Fallfellow from Pinocchio in another version. Unfortunately, the timing for producing these 2 animations was poor. The half-finished script for Bongo was delivered to Walt Disney for evaluation the day after Pearl Harbor was bombed on December 8th. World War II cut both of these cartoons to shorts, as the Walt Disney Company had lost many animators to the draft and were forced to refocus on American war films. Fun and Fancy Free has its own number of variations. The original 1947 version was presented in the way I've mentioned, but it was altered in 1963 by changing the introduction to Mickey and the Beanstalk from Edgar Bergen and his ventriloquist dummies to Ludwig von Drake on Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Color television program. In the 1970s, the narration was replaced by Sherry Lewis, another ventriloquist, and her sheepish little puppet, Lamb Chop. Though Fun and Fancy Free is considered both obscure and strange, I still enjoy the cartoons. I even love the Edgar Bergen segment. Donald's powerful hunger scene in Mickey and the Beanstalk is so memorable even to casual Disney fans. I recommend watching Fun and Fancy Free at least once. Here's hoping you do, Duck fans. See you next time.